G'day there guys, frequently investing all of my money into whatever Wall Street bets tells me to do it because I have no self-control. Hey, it's your main man Markee and welcome back to another episode of r/AmiTheA. Now if you love today's bloody good content, I want you to sit back, relax, hold those stocks, don't stop holding those stocks, don't worry if it crashes. Chuck a prawn on the barbie and have a bloody good time. Thank you. Posted by user Low Representative 770. Titled, Am I the a-hole for not serving my wife breakfast, lunch, and dinner when she demands it? So about 6 months ago, my wife and I decided to split household duties. Totally her idea. I had been cooking a lot, and she basically said she hated cooking and figuring out food, and if I kept doing it, she would be happy to take on the majority of housework and cleaning. We tried it and thought it went well, so we kept doing it. Easy enough. On to the issue. So I've started cooking in bulk. On Saturday and Sunday, I make one giant meal each day in our Instant Pot and portion out the remainder of the food into serving-sized Tupperware, basically meal prep. I've also stocked the fridge each week with lots of jellies, meats, and cheese, and the pantry with lots of snacks and bread for quick sandwiches. Now, during the day, she'll randomly come into my office and tell me I'm hungry and want me to make her food. I tell her all of the sandwich options and all of the leftovers that would take her 2 minutes to heat up, and she'll just roll her eyes and leave, which I think is rude. We got into an argument yesterday where she told me I'm not holding up my end of the bargain. She wants breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks served to her throughout the day. I told her that if I'm making myself lunch or dinner, I'll make some for her, but I'm not going to drop everything to stand in a microwave for 2 minutes when she's capable of doing that herself. I don't tell her when I think something needs to be cleaned, you know? Anyway, she thinks I'm being a jerk and I think she's acting childish. Am I the a-hole? On the surface of this one, it seems like an easy not the a-hole judgment, but, the questionable part of this for me is, why is he just making 2 meals on a Saturday and Sunday and then telling her to eat it for the rest of the week? That's kind of boring, and sandwiches are the rest of the options? Yes, it makes it seem like there's a lot of food available, but if you're eating the same 2 meals for an entire week at a time, that gets boring after a while, and I can't blame her for that. But as I was saying before, there's a lot of information that was hidden that OP commented further on afterwards, which is going to be highlighted by the first comment that I read here. But basically, 95% of the job of looking after their child who was just born has been dumped on the partner, and OP is using the food as an excuse to not look after their child. There is so much more going on in this situation. OP is just doing a classic case of, oh, look at me, I'm holding up the deal. There's a deal that was made here, and why is she complaining? You're the a-hole, OP. Grow up and fix this situation. First comment is by TrickDonut6295. So, based on comments made by the OP, a few things were left out. 1. Your wife just had a baby a few months ago. She is doing all the childcare, all the cleaning, and all the laundry. You take care of the dog and remove garbage and recycling. 2. You're both working from home. And 3. You cook 2 meals in bulk. One on Saturday and one on Sunday, the rest is sandwich fixings. You figured out a way to game the system. Congratulations. Instead of picking up the slack and helping, say, keep the kitchen clean or doing a bit of childcare, you're on Reddit asking if you're upholding the letter of your agreement. You are, if that's what you need to hear. You're just not holding up the spirit of the agreement with a woman who is taking care of your house and child while working from home. That makes you the a-hole, a colossal one at that. You're the a-hole. Edit to add in response to your edits, when faced with the actuality of being responsible for meals, a daily breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you're hanging up your skillet. That's in character. Why don't you put in a best faith effort by looking up a few recipes and making a weekly meal plan? And Kawat X Camped says, based on your comments, you're the a-hole. Your wife is a new mum doing the bulk of the childcare and housework. You feed and walk the dogs, take out the trash, and take care of meals. It would be one thing if you were cooking every day, but buddy, meal prep 1 day a week and stocking stuff to make sandwiches isn't really doing all that much, and it's not giving your wife any variety at all. Not only that, but in other comments, you admit it's not that she's demanding specific meals, it's that she's so tired she lacks the executive function to make a decision on what leftovers to heat up, again, or whatever sandwich to make. Make the mother of your child an effing sandwich, you a-hole. And edit because of OP's edits, holy crap snacks OP. I didn't think anything you said could make you a bigger ass, but you have truly outdone yourself with that one. Good to know Reddit can still surprise and horrify me after all this time. Once more with feeling, make the mother of your child an effing sandwich, you a-hole. And now on to those edits. Edit. Okay, a lot of people think I'm the a-hole here, which, after defending myself and still getting told I'm the a-hole, I'm willing to accept. Next question. Will I be the a-hole if I tell her I want to go back to how things were, where we both clean and both cook? Thank you. Edit 2. I'm definitely an a-hole. Thank you all, really. I plan to change starting right now. I got my ass handed to me, and I deserved it. I've been acting shamefully. And final edit. I've noticed an uptick in not the a-hole comments, and I don't want anyone to get downvoted because they didn't see my comments. We also have a newborn that she's been doing 95% of the care for, as well as breastfeeding. I should have mentioned that in the original post. And our next post is by user One Lost Slav, titled, Would I be the a-hole if I sued my boyfriend's elderly mother and pressed charges against her? Okay, I know how this sounds, but please hear me out at least. I've been with my boyfriend for 11 years, since I was 15. His mother has hated me since the first day she met me. She hated me due to my ethnicity, Kosovan Albanian. She hated me due to my career. I work as a model, and she decided that makes me an empty-headed, vain, and shallow person. Then when I told her I still planned to go to university alongside my career, she said I was doing it to impress my boyfriend. I've since left uni with a distinction, and her new reason to hate me is, I try too hard? She's also insisted I've cheated on him throughout our entire relationship, which is a ridiculous claim. I've never even kissed another man in my whole life. I have zero desire to cheat and never will. Late last year, she attempted to void the insurance on my boyfriend's motorbikes. She tried to do this under my name, so hypothetically, when he was arrested for riding with no insurance and called his insurance company, I would get the blame. After this happened, my boyfriend and I agreed to cut her out. However, it hasn't stuck. She left my boyfriend alone and respected his wishes for no contact, but she's continued to contact and harass me. This leads to the last few weeks. My boyfriend works as a motorcycle test rider, and he got in an awful motorbike crash while working. As such, I now need to care for him. I'm okay with that, and I'm focusing on seeing it as an opportunity for us to get closer. It's been nice, honestly. However, his mother has been awful to me. She's called me a litany of terms, from things as tame as stupid to things as awful as nasty Serbian half-breed. I'm not Serbian, and she's well aware that calling a Kosovan a Serb is offensive. I tried to block her, so she started making new iMessage accounts and began to continuously harass me via those accounts. Then came Friday night. The police turned up at our door. I was pretty confused and was quickly told they were there to do a welfare check as they'd received multiple claims of horrific abuse I was apparently putting my poor boyfriend under. Obviously, they quickly discovered he was fine, albeit grumpy, and they left. I know for a fact it was his mother. Some of the details the police mentioned made that obvious. I'm now at a point where I've realized I literally cannot do this. I'm going to press charges against her for the insurance and harassment. It's a crime in the UK, and I'm likely going to sue her for damages. For the sake of my mental health, I need to do this. I don't want to be a victim, and she needs to be forced to stop. I've mentioned my intentions to her if she doesn't back off, and she pretty much is mocking me and saying I won't. I absolutely will. I just feel like this morally may make me an awful person. She sucks, I know this. However, she's old and miserable enough as is, and I feel like doing this may ruin whatever small amount of life she has left. It feels like it may be too far. I really don't know though, and I genuinely cannot be objective here. Would I be the a-hole if I did this? Edit. When I say I needed to care for my boyfriend, I mean he's essentially immobile. He's not being unsupportive, he's just barely able to take care for himself, let alone battle his mother too. And OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the a-hole. My boyfriend's mum is old and honestly, very deluded. I don't know if prioritizing my mental health is worth completely ruining hers. Financially, she's not exactly stable either. If you believe that she's taken this far enough that you do need to press charges against her for the insurance and harassments, and that it in fact is a crime in the UK, then I say go for it. Morally, you have every reason to do it. Legally, you have every reason to do it. The only detractors here would be your boyfriend saying no, your family or your boyfriend's family or your friends saying no. But ultimately here, you're being harassed and abused, and you shouldn't have to take that. And you shouldn't have to ignore it, and you shouldn't have to go no contact with it. If she's done it to this point, she deserves the consequences of her actions. And I say personally, not the a-hole for this one, and I want you to go full force and shut her down. It's kinda despicable. In the comments, Mongrel Goddess says, not the a-hole. This is getting dangerous. Maybe a restraining order? I've considered it. Maybe have to go that route too. Get a locksmith on your doors, and a window, and an old-timey stabby hairpin while you're at it. I really don't want to watch this recapped on Forensic Files. She's never even been in our house before. I'm not going to go into details on my house security for obvious reasons, but trust me, that's not a worry here, thank God. Definitely get that restraining order. Not the a-hole. You gotta protect yourself and get on record all the harassment she's done. Her age is no excuse. By the way, I knew a Kosovan Albanian in school who was a refugee. She told me horror stories of her childhood in the war, and also cool stuff about her culture. Unfixed Conch says, not the a-hole. His mother is abusive and becoming a danger to you and your boyfriend. You need to cut her out entirely and take some legal action. Figure out your best options and go from there. But this woman is a racist, vile, sickening lady. Yeah, I think you're right. We've already cut her out. She's contacting me via new iMessage accounts and emails, etc. And yeah, she's 100% racist. I'm ethnic Albanian, but I'm white. I've seen the way she treats people of color, and it makes the way she treats me seem like a walk in the park. I genuinely hate her. Change your phone number. Then you won't have to keep blocking her if she doesn't know your new one. She had my email too, and she's been using that. Changing numbers and emails isn't enough. She will continue in some manner until she is forced to stop. She sees me as the woman who stole her son, and she has never let that go. And Tia Calypso says, not the a-hole, but do discuss it with your boyfriend first. In my country, this would be slander, and libel laws apply. I'll definitely discuss it with him first. I know he'll agree. She's an awful person and was an even worse mother to him. Sounds like a good plan. If he has any reservations, then maybe just focus on the restraining order / cease and desist angle of things though, and not the financial compensation side. Not that you don't deserve that too, but it might be easier to claim the moral high ground if you can keep it not being about money. Posted by user MamaThrowaway2725462. Titled, Am I the a-hole for allowing my fiancé to be at my house while I'm on the phone? When my daughter, Avery, was 17, I started dating my then boyfriend, now fiancé, Steven. I had been friends with him for a little bit of time, and Avery had met him once and said that he seemed nice and was into me. I guess she was a good judge because a year later, Stephen and I got together and the rest is history. Avery's relationship with him has been rocky to say the least. I have 2 sons, but they were adults when I got together with Stephen, so didn't have much input. Avery was a minor, and we are very close, so she was always around and began disliking Stephen for no reason. She said he was being rude to her when he was only giving her helpful tips. She would comment on my relationship with him too, and how he treated me, which I thought was inappropriate. They can never see eye to eye when it comes to issues pertaining the world, which I don't get into because I don't have the knowledge. What I will say is that Avery is only 21. Stephen has always tried to be as kind as he can be, but she still just doesn't like him. The other day, I had her on speaker while Stephen was in the room, and he heard her ranting about some boy. So he gave her some pretty solid advice, but afterwards, she got quiet and said she had to go. I thought she might have just been disappointed to hear the truth from a man's perspective, but later on, she called me asking why I hadn't told her Stephen was there. I said that I told her Stephen was at the house that day, and I had told her that she was on speaker, so I don't know what she expected. She said that I should have told her that he was in the room, but just don't agree. Stephen and I are a team, and he shouldn't feel like he needs to announce his presence when just walking around. She then went on a tangent about how I'm a coward and always take a man's side, and how she doesn't respect me because of that. I told her that he was my fiancé, not just some man, and she was being absurdly rude. I did tell her I wouldn't put her on speaker anymore though, and she said don't worry about it, because she wouldn't call me with her issues anymore. Then she hung up and hasn't spoken to me since. My sisters and parents think I'm in the right, while my sons are both pretty mad at me too. They are very protective of Avery. I'm just confused. Was I the a-hole here? And Opie has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the a-hole. My sons think I was being rude to my daughter, while my family thinks I was just telling it like it is, and she just doesn't want to hear the truth. My daughter thinks I'm the a-hole because I had her on speakerphone, which I think is ridiculous, and I should be the one that's mad because of how rude she was. Look, all this boils down to for me was, you let her private issues become public with you and your fiancé when she only ever intended it to be you and her talking about these private issues. The second that you bring someone else into it and don't announce that, and they're not cool with that, you're a dick regardless. You know your daughter better than us. You obviously know how she's going to react because you've raised her. You've been around her the most her whole life. You can't just turn this on strangers and be like, oh my god, just a random kid, huh? Just this random kid, she's so pissed when I revealed her private information to my fiancé in a live setting. OP, I'm sure you think it was great, solid advice, but no. No, 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 no. That's so low, I don't know how much lower you want to go. And the fact that you're still trying to defend yourself is disgusting in and of itself as well. How do you not realize that you're the one that sucks in this situation? I'm sure you've whitewashed the situation and made yourself seem like the good guy, as do a lot of people in these situations, and that's why you're saying all these other people support you. But I bet if you told them the actual truth of the situation, they wouldn't be supporting you, and they wouldn't be enabling you. So my advice to you, OP, is grow up and have some respect for your daughter. You're the a-hole. Drawing Goblin says, you're the a-hole. Your daughter expected a private conversation with you about a personal issue and had her business interfered in by, what is to her, some random dude. He's your fiancé, but he's not her father, and he has no business giving her helpful tips. I note this isn't the first time. She's clearly and rightly upset that you cannot keep him out of her business, and for some unfathomable reason, think that he has the right to be part of her life because you want him to be a part of yours. You are shaping up for a child going fully no contact if you don't rein this crap in. Ding ding ding. Your daughter is rightfully disgusted with you, and you'd better make a demonstrated effort to put her before your fiancé unless you're cool with her writing you off. You owe her a massive apology, and you need to tell Stephen to stop butting in. It's like you don't feel protective of her at all where he's considered. Very sad. Sounds like the daughter is justifiably annoyed that this guy is constantly mansplaining when she's not interested in his opinion. If he truly means well, he'd stop spouting his wisdom and give it to his fiancée to share with her daughter, knowing daughter doesn't want to hear it from him. I generally cringe over the word mansplaining, but this is the textbook definition of it, and nothing else fits. I'm not certain if this falls into mansplaining territory, but looking at OP's follow-up comments, the great advice he gave was to basically slut-shame OP's daughter. Apprehensive Fox 244 says, "You're the a-hole. It's common courtesy to let other people know who is in the room if you put them on speakerphone, especially knowing her history with him. Of course she doesn't want to be vulnerable around him in the same way that she would be with you." And OP replies, "Her history with him isn't even that bad, to be honest. They disagree politically. She's very liberal, whereas Steven is more conservative, but he likes to hear her viewpoints, so he brings it up from time to time. She's even asked him to stop though because she said it always results in a fight. My thought is that if you're emotionally invested, I think you need to take a moment to yourself. She believes that he acts condescending during these conversations, but I think he just knows a little more. His tips were also only to keep her safe. For example, when she was in high school, she was getting bullied, so she was rather sad, and Steven let her borrow his car one day. He obviously didn't want his car to get ruined, so took her off to the side and told her not to drive when she gets emotional. What the fuck is wrong with you? After that, she said she didn't want to use the car, and just went and sat in her room, which was ridiculous because she was also running some errands for us. The only other time I can think of where she got mad was again for her own safety. She was going to a protest and Steven told her that she should probably just stay home since there were riots and wait to vote if she had an issue with policies. She said she wouldn't and that his logic wasn't correct and it's important to spread this message. He said that she wasn't going to change society's mind in an afternoon, which I agree with, so just stay home and be safe. She also had some issues because she felt like he was meddling into our relationship, but I just don't see that at all. I just think she has some issues with being criticized. Lamau? He's condescending, conservative, and telling her to stay home and not to protest. Can't imagine why she doesn't like him. You're the a-hole. And Floyd J says, "You're the a-hole. If she wanted to talk to your fiancé about her problems, she would have called him, not you. Also, your title is very misleading." I get that, but his recommendation was actually great advice. He was also just walking around the house, and I mentioned this to her. What was the advice? He noticed that when she was telling us about this date she went on with this guy she seems to like, he didn't text her to ask if she got home safe. He asked her if that was common, and she said that she oftentimes stays over, so she doesn't know. He said that she wouldn't be staying over so much as he may get the wrong idea, and that not texting her when she gets home isn't a great sign, and to be wary. She remarked that she didn't ask him to text her when she got home, and he said she shouldn't have to. It should be something he chooses to do because he cares for her. She just said that they've only been on a few dates, but then said thanks for the advice and hung up. I agree with this advice though, and I told her this after the fact. If a guy didn't text me when I was leaving his house, I would find this off-putting. But she pointed out that I have only dated in my 40s. Her father and I were high school sweethearts, and that it's different dating in your 20s, but my mentality is that men are men. Steven slut-shamed your daughter. That comment about the wrong idea because she stays over? That's slut-shaming. No wonder she's pissed. This has been long enough, that's what she said. I'm gonna move to the last post for this one. I'm sorry that it got so long. But damn, Steven is a piece of work, that's for sure. Posted by user MolassesNo8782. Titled, "Am I the a-hole for saying that I'm glad my first baby died?" I used to be in a very toxic relationship. Partially my own fault because I was pathetic, a shy pushover who was too timid to have or voice out my own opinion. I viewed my ex-boyfriend as a strong and dependable person, and he could decide everything for us. When I got pregnant, I was scared and did not know what to do. I was not ready to have a baby, and I turned to my ex, who told me that we should keep it and he would take care of the both of us so that I had nothing to worry about. Despite that, I was still very stressed, not eating nor sleeping well on top of the stress of hiding my pregnancy from my family and friends. I was to live with my ex and avoid them until the baby arrived in fear that they would see me differently. Now come to think of it, that was extremely immature and a stupid thing to do. Anyway, things did not go well and I miscarried. Almost died too because of how weak I was, and it was then I realized how much support my friends and family could provide me with. My ex was devastated with the loss, and even though he did not blame me for it, we broke up shortly afterwards as I moved back with my parents. Life from then on only got better. As of now, 9 years later, I'm a happy wife of an amazing man and mother of 2 lovely sons. We were in a family reunion a few weeks ago when my sister-in-law brought up about my miscarried baby, as she's a friend of my ex. Feeling that I have nothing to hide or be ashamed of, I told the whole family that I'm glad that my first baby did not live. If it had lived and was born, I would have not been able to properly take care of it, and would not have broken up with my ex, whom I realize by now is an abusive a-hole. It got a little awkward, but my husband managed to change the topic. A few days later on, my sister-in-law posted a long status saying that she could not believe that someone would be happy that her child had died, and that the general assumption that mothers love their children was a lie. Something like that. It was deleted later. My name was not mentioned, but I knew that she meant me. My husband had an argument with sister-in-law, saying she's stirring up crap for no reason, and she later deleted the status, but not before I read many comments agreeing with her. I guess that maybe I should not have said that, as it may be a sensitive topic. Am I the a-hole? I'm gonna go with a definitely no, hell to the no. You're not an a-hole for this situation. It's another case of someone taking one thing and twisting it out of context just to give the points that they disagree with a brighter light than the rest that they would agree with. All that she cherry-picked from this situation was posting to her friends that you were happy that your child had died and that mothers don't love their children from the get-go. She posted nothing about the abusive ex, how he kept you from your family, how, having that baby would have ruined your life afterwards, that you wouldn't have been able to look after it. She's just cherry-picking the things that are egregious in her eyes without the entire context around it, and that's just a disgusting act. I get that saying you're happy your first child died could be an a-hole thing, but with the context surrounding it, I don't think anyone can blame you for that besides this stupid sister-in-law who's missing half her brain. If she had mentioned your name in the post, I would have thought that it would be something like slander that you could take her to court over, although that's a very dramatic thing and we don't see that too often, even in reality. We kind of just cut those people off and move on with our lives because the drama is not worth it. But I would not blame you if you did take her on for that. It's just such a shitty thing for her to have done, and my heart goes out to you, OP, but for this one, not the a-hole. In the comments, DebileDeg11 says, there might have been a different way to word it, but not the a-hole. Sister-in-law is an a-hole though. You were in an abusive and toxic relationship that physically sickened you while you were pregnant. You didn't intentionally kill your child. From what you posted, their death was a direct result of the physical state of your body, which was a direct result of the relationship and the extremes that you felt like and were forced to go to. You're not the a-hole, OP. Don't let anyone ever tell you that you are. Seems like sister-in-law willfully missed the nuance in that neither OP nor her first child are trapped in a toxic environment. Exactly this. It's not that OP didn't love the baby. OP is glad she didn't have to subject the baby to parents who weren't in a good place. Yeah to all that, but also, who the F is like, hey, Remember 10 years ago when you were with X and miscarried? Remember that? Let's discuss this totally appropriate topic. I plan to take offense, but I demand this be openly discussed. What the actual F is wrong with sister-in-law? Webby Vanderquack says, not the a-hole. I don't understand why your sister-in-law would think it was acceptable to bring that up in front of others. But it's the kind of thing that's probably best not said aloud in a group situation, because it sounds worse than it is and could easily end up misconstrued. Sister-in-law is friends with the OP's abusive ex, and 9 years on, clearly feels that the OP was somehow responsible for the bad relationship. And a duck named Phil says, not the a-hole. They do not get to gatekeep how a woman should feel about a pregnancy and/or miscarriage, especially when it isn't theirs. Your sister-in-law was way out of line, and your husband did the right thing. Try to put those people out of your mind, your feelings are not wrong, and it's okay to be happy that your life didn't go down that road. G'day there guys, and that's the end of today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed it and were entertained by today's bloody good content. As always, I want to do a quick shout out and a thank you to all my channel members and Patreon subscribers. Your beautiful faces and names will be up on screen right now. Haven't forgot about you guys, sorry I was taking a little break there. So yeah, if you see yourself, give yourself a pat on the back. If you want to be on this screen, there's links down to the description below where you can sign up and help support the channel and all future projects that I'm going to be doing on this one. With all that said, I hope you guys have an amazing day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to. I'll see you in the next episode, and I do hope you enjoy it. Thank you.